Hey guys, welcome back. This is Neon. I'm here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about the parallels between Captain Marvel and Solo.
Yeah.
Because we're seeing a lot of parallels between these two movies, especially the marketing machine, especially the numbers.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm going to read the headline of this. This is coming from Forbes. And this is like, I think this is way off, but you know, who knows? We could be wrong. We could be wrong. Captain Marvel soaring toward possible $150 million domestic opening. Now, when I read this number, okay, and seeing the backlash that the fans have had toward Captain Marvel, it reminded me of another movie, which was Solo. Solo, the exact same thing was said about Solo. Solo, a Star Wars story's latest tracking suggests $130 to $150 million
and that
opening.
was about the same distance in front of the opening, too.
It was yeah, it was a few days in front of the opening. So they said it could actually, they downgraded. They said it would hit $170 million, and then they downgraded it to a possible $150 million, and it wound up actually making like $85 million, I think, over the weekend. And if you count the 4-day Memorial Day weekend, just a little bit over 100.
Right.
But that was a 4-day Memorial Day weekend.
And they keep saying, oh, it's 100 million, 100 million, 100 million. You idiots, it's 100 million. You're projecting low. But that's what the articles have been saying. Give or take 20 million, it's 100 million is what they've been saying. So I think it's funny when these people are jumping all over people saying 100 million. It's like, but that's what they've been saying. Like, no, these people weren't saying anything that wasn't different from what was being said in the media. I don't get the hate on it. But
yeah, but I mean, there's so many similarities between Solo and Captain Marvel, and even, I mean, everything like beat for beat, even the look. Captain Marvel is killing it in Fandango pre-sales. Captain Marvel is going to make $150 million potentially. These are the exact same things that were said about Solo.
But with Solo, were places giving $1 movie tickets out to go see them? Were Solo, were they doing Kickstarters for, or GoFundMes or whatever they were, for ticket sales?
Were they crowdfunding ticket sales? No, they were not. They were not.
So if it's if it's up higher than that, it could all possibly be because of, you know, these backdoor deals. And I'll often wonder this, and I don't know if anybody has answered this or not, but you know, we've seen it in comics a lot, where comics places will buy their own books to inflate their numbers. Yeah. Do movie studios buy their own tickets to inflate their numbers?
Talked about that. We've talked about that before. I don't have an answer, but we have talked about that amongst ourselves. And you know, I've wondered, do the studios, do they buy Fandango tickets? You know, are some of those empty seats at movie theaters, were they bought and paid for by the studio only to go unfilled? Are those $1? That's what
I was gonna say, the $1 tickets.
Those $1 tickets that they're selling to these college students, they actually get you on a bus for a buck. And I forget which college it was. For a buck, you get a bus ride to Captain Marvel and you get snacks. It sounds to me like these were theater seats that were not going to go filled otherwise, or did the studio just buy those seats?
Oh no, don't have an answer.
You know, the ones that they're crowdfunding, were those seats already bought and paid for by Fandango, by the studios?
I don't know.
I mean, we don't know, but it's possible.
And you know, right now we don't know what the movie's going to do. It's not going to be open until next week, so we don't know. I mean, it could go 200 million for all we know. We do not know. But what I'm going to talk about now is things like this article.
Oh my God.
Let's have worked. Yeah. Okay, this is the problem right here. Go ahead and read it.
Okay, this is coming from Mark Hughes, who looks to be a white male. Mark Hughes. An army of, oh my God, let's start right out of the first freaking sentence. An army of easily triggered fanboys who don't like girls in their clubhouse cannot stop the inevitable. Marvel Studios' Captain Marvel is soaring toward a domestic opening weekend north of 100 million and possibly as high as 150 million as positive buzz about the film continues to grow. And they silence critics on Rotten Tomatoes.
Right. Yeah. The positive buzz is their damage control. This is what I'm talking about right here. Mark, you are exactly what I'm talking about. Here is the problem, people. People like Mark, who's clearly an easily triggered individual who's, you know, projecting onto everybody else. They keep making these articles. Now, they could have done articles saying, hey, look, Captain Marvel is going to maybe do 150 million. You know, hey, let's talk about this. But no, we have to start off with insults. Because we can't just report the news. We have to somehow make sure that you know that he's morally superior to you. And of course, it's always meant They don't like girls in their clubhouse. Well, Mark, you don't must like not like women in your clubhouse either, because you keep excluding the women who don't like it completely. So you are just as bad as these fanboys that you're claiming to hate. You're just as much of a douche, just so you know. Anyway, I'm tired of this whole girls. How many movies have strong female characters like Alita or Wonder Woman and stuff that men like just as much?
Yeah, this is what blows my mind. Like, they keep ignoring Alita. You know, like those easily triggered fanboys are supporting the hell out of Alita. Now, Alita's not going to do the numbers that an MCU movie will do. I mean, it's just not, because they don't have the marketing. But I mean, if they're so triggered, how come Wonder Woman did so well? How come Wonder Woman had such positive word of mouth? How come Alita has such positive word of mouth?
And when you're hearing from people about what they don't like about Captain Marvel, it's usually involving Brie Larson's comments,
yeah,
or people like this guy in their articles. And I'm going to take a few minutes here right now. I'm sorry, I'm going to be ranting for a few minutes, just letting you know.
That's okay.
This kind of stuff is what's killing fandoms. This kind of bullshit right here. These self-entitled, puffed up, arrogant little weens who think they are the moral authority, and most often men who think they are the moral authority on everything, using this as a platform for themselves to divide fandom. It's more, the more divisive you are, the more clicks we're going to get. So they themselves are causing this great big divide. They could have just did a story about Captain Marvel. Hey guys, it's going to soar for 150 million. Great, let's talk about that and keep it positive. Oh no, we had to get the digs in first. Because, you know, they now decide who the fans are. You know, once upon a time, actually just a couple of years ago, people could like something and it was cool. People could not like something and it was cool. You could not like this movie or this episode of a TV show or this record or whatever, but you're still a fan because you still like it. You just had problems like one thing. It was cool. It wasn't until these people like Mark Hughes here started using the media as a tool to basically puff themselves up and put themselves on a platform and build fences. You know, the fences they hate? Yeah. They're building the fences. They're causing the division. And then they're saying, oh my God, there's so much division. Fanboy trolls. I'm sorry, this is trolling as well, Mark. That comment is trolling. That is trolling, Mark. You are just exactly what you're saying you hate. And my next comment is, if it's such a small vocal minority, which is the other thing they love to say, the vocal minority. If something is a vocal minority, then that does not tank a global movie. A vocal minority of upset fanboys in the United States isn't going to tank the global numbers of a film as much as it does. So it's either a vocal minority or it's not such a minority.
Right. I mean, that was like the situation with Solo, right? So initially when Solo underperformed, everybody was like, well, it was Star Wars fatigue. It was all this other stuff. But then later they're like, well, it was the fanboys and the backlash and whatever. It's like, you could look, there are a lot of very vocal, upset fans online.
And it wasn't just men.
It wasn't just men.
It wasn't because of women.
Right. But even then, the general public had to not care for Solo to do as badly as it did.
That's what I'm saying. And now Solo's already been, it's already done, it did poorly because it was a general audience fatigue or whatever you want to blame it on. The MCU still might do well because most people aren't involved in this moronic bullshit that these people like Mark Hughes keep spinning on Forbes online. Yep. They're not going and reading these articles. They don't care. They don't give a flying crap what Mark Hughes says. So they don't care. So the majority of audiences might still go to this, and it still might do well. But I'm telling you what, if it is not the movie that they're promising, people will notice, and it will affect movies down the road for them. And we don't know if it's a good movie or not yet. We haven't seen it, so we can't say. And it might be a really good movie. It might turn out to be great. We don't know. We're gonna go and see and let you know. But stuff like this shit right here. This is what's causing the problems in the fandom. People like Mark Hughes, who thinks that he is the moral authority, he is the voice of the real fandom, quote unquote, is a bunch of crap. People can be fans and not agree with you, Mark.
Yeah, amen. Basically, these guys, they're bloggers. They're using established media platforms as their own personal blog. And they think they have, again, like you said, they have moral superiority because their blog is running on Forbes instead of Tumblr. Right. But it's the same shit.
You're
it's like
trolling.
their opinions. Yeah,
you are the flip side of the coin. You are just as much of a troll as you're accusing everybody else of because you're deliberately, but you're worse. I'll tell you why you're worse, Mark. Because people like you are deliberately trying to cause division. Like this here was deliberately targeted to be like in your face, rub, as I cause division.
Very first sentence is a middle finger to fans who have, again, male and female, black and white, straight and gay, fans who have concerns about the marketing of this movie, the you know, the people behind the movie, some of the stuff said about the movie. You basically just stuck your middle finger up in the air and said, you know, screw you guys.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, you guys, we gotta get mad about stuff, but what we need to turn the tables back on these people, because these people are the ones, if you look at it, are the ones that are causing the problems. They're the ones put themselves in positions on, prominent, in quotes on some of these, media outlets, and then they're stirring up the crap. They're creating crap that wasn't even there, and they're constantly blaming it on fanboys, fanboy tears, fans in quotes.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah, every freaking article. I mean, yeah.
If I were the studios, I'd be after these guys, because these guys are causing the IP problems. These guys are causing more damage to Captain Marvel and the IP by going out there whining and stirring up crap than any of these quote-unquote vocal minority fanboys could possibly do.
Yeah, I mean, really, you know, if they hadn't antagonized the fandom, same with Star Wars. If you didn't antagonize the fandom as much as you did, you're throwing kerosene on the fire. They constantly
on
do
purpose.
On purpose to trigger your political enemies. I mean, I really think
this triggers both sides.
Yeah,
people who are agreeing that Captain Marvel's the best thing ever are getting triggered against people that they're blaming men, even though it's not all men to begin with, and not everyone are, is trolling. And then the people on the other side are like, whoa, you're gonna slap me down because I don't like it? You know, it's a giant fire where they sit on a pedestal and they just pour kerosene on everyone on both sides.
Yeah.
And they go duke it out, and then they'll go whine about it and write about it more because it gets them more clicks. It gets them more to write about.
Well, that's it. And you really you kind of distill it down to what is actually going on here. What we talk about, and what I think is actually going on here is it is like mainstream media versus YouTubers versus independent voices, independent fan communities, because we've seen all these pop culture news sites basically just sell out. I mean, for lack of a better term, like, I don't know how else to put it. They've sold out. They become an arm of the studios. Okay, and to keep the hits up, there's all this antagonism going on. But the point we've made before is, sites like these pop culture sites, Nerdist and CBR and IO9, and it goes on and on. Gawker. Well, yeah, Gawker.
Was Gawker's got. I mean,
Gizmodo.
Was Gawker. Same thing.
Yeah, IO9. They don't have the fandom's interest in mind. They basically exist to stir the shit, to get advertising revenue, to hold on to their place as being an authority, and these websites are losing authority. This is why BuzzFeed's going out. This is why all of these, like Vice and all these other ones, are hemorrhaging reporters.
But if I were the studios, I'd be mad at these people, because there was it was a vocal minority, like they're claiming, of people who don't like things. Them taking a couple complaints they see on Twitter and then blowing it out of proportion, blaming it on all men. It's always men's fault. I don't understand this. It's always somehow men are always at fault for it. And it actually, as a woman, it pisses me off. So they keep blowing this out of proportion. And what might have been a small minority, you have now just made much larger group, because they're like, whoa, that's not right. You shouldn't say, like me. I'm a woman, and you know what makes me more mad than anything about this shit? Comments like this. And as a woman, I might have agreed with you had you not been a dick. And that's the thing, you're losing people. People who already bought tickets are saying they're not going to go now because of people like this guy writing these articles. The studios need to go after these people.
Well, that's what happened with Solo. Solo underperformed, I think. Part of it was just the general public didn't like the Last Jedi.
Star Wars.
They didn't like the Last Jedi, but also, Lucasfilm attacked the fandoms. They used media to attack the fandom afterwards, which soured people in Solo. Which, honestly, we said before, we didn't think was a bad movie, but it felt the backlash of the fans. If Captain Marvel doesn't perform, or it turns out to be a not so good movie, or there's more of this antagonism toward the fandom, it might impact MCU movies down the road.
That's what I'm saying, going forward.
Yeah, they're just gonna say, like, look, maybe Captain Marvel wasn't completely terrible, but because of the media and people at Marvel or whatever attacking fans, Brie Larson attacking white dudes, they're not going to go see the movies.
People getting mad and then blowing it out of proportion, like, oh, there were 3 tweets on Twitter, people didn't like it. Well, now they're making out like there's hundreds, and it's all men.
Yeah, well, it was like that stupid Last Jedi Russian bot theory where they literally cherry picked a handful of tweets.
I love when a good paper, you can recreate it. You can't recreate this. Well, then automatically I'm dismissing your paper.
Yeah, if it's not something you can recreate, then it's dismissed. But yeah, they will write. These used to be reputable magazines. They will write garbage articles based on a handful of tweets to support their theory. You saw this with Comicsgate all the time. They would take 2 or 3 tweets from people who may or may not actually be associated with the situation or take them out of context and write entire articles
about how everyone, all the men, male trolls were harassing somebody.
Right,
it was like 3 tweets.
Yeah.
And that's what's going on, because they're trying to sensationalize their headlines to get their numbers up, because they get more money if they get more hits, and the site will stay stay in the
black, yeah.
If they're getting more hits, that all they're doing is causing more division, and they're the ones actually behind most of the issues. And I am so tired. If I hear one more stupid man tell me that it's all men and I don't count, I'm gonna stick my foot up your something, because I'm so tired of it. I'm gonna stick my brush somewhere.
Kiki's gonna shove her.
Because stop. You don't get to decide who the fans are. It is not all men. We have to fight for the women as we act like they don't count. Stop. Just shut it. Focus on the facts. Hey, there's a possibility that Captain Marvel might hit 150 million. Isn't that great? Let's talk about how great the movie's going to be, and we're excited about it. There is no need. Oh, here he goes.
He keeps going.
Because that's all he can do. Because he's an arrogant, pompous dillweed who's trying to inflate himself and say, look, I'm the moral authority. I agree with you. You should all be as good as I am.
Oh my god, look at this shit. A silly effort by angry fanboys to drive down the film's Rotten Tomatoes user ratings, some motivated by sexist rage at Brie Larson's comments supporting diversity, some in the grips of myopic Marvel vs. DC infighting, and some driven by an obsessive combination of the two.
Of course, it's fanboys. Women aren't involved at all.
Has not dissuaded other... Well, it's dissuaded, you needed either. Has not dissuaded other fans and the larger mainstream public from enthusiastic anticipation of Marvel's first ever female-led superhero solo movie. Actually, I'm not hearing a lot of buzz.
What's an awful lot of words shoved in there. I'm not, and the thing is, it might do well because most normal people aren't involved in this bullcrap, and they're blissfully unaware of all this crap going on. And if the movie's good, it'll do well. If the movie is what people worry it's going to be, and it's one giant agenda, it's probably not going to do well. And you cannot blame a failure on a movie. Now, in one breath, it's a small amount of fanboys.
Right.
You're saying that, and then if it doesn't do well, then suddenly this small amount of fanboys affected everything because they're a bunch of trolls. I'm sorry, you are trolling. You are trolling. Same thing.
Oh my god! So this guy,
I don't want to.
It goes on, and he's talking about how he thinks
likes to hear himself talk.
He thinks it's sexism, and he thinks it's Marvel versus DCEU. No, it's not, because again, where's Alita in this? You're not hearing anything about Alita.
Well, no. He's talking about the Shazam movie. Because everybody's saying, I'd rather see the Shazam movie. Oh my god.
Well, it's just people want to see the movies that look good. Yeah, before any fanboys flip their wigs in rage at my imaginary
fan women
scenario here, remember, I happen to be one of the few reviewers who like Batman vs. Superman.
Well, that explains a lot about you.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Now we're gonna put down Wonder Woman.
Well, no, they talked about Wonder Woman, the differences, and basically he's saying if Captain Marvel doesn't perform as well as Wonder Woman, I believe he's saying it's because it's coming out in March and not summer. I'm like, well,
no, that means it should do better because there's less competition.
Wonder Woman was now Wonder Woman. We talked about Wonder Woman before. Now, first of all, Gal Gadot does not insult the fans.
No.
She is a class act. And two, Wonder Woman, it started out at like 100 million first weekend, but it didn't have very much of a drop-off on the second weekend because the word of mouth got out there that the movie was good. I think people were sort of lukewarm to it because of Batman versus Superman. But he just goes on and on.
Yeah, about how all the competition Wonder Woman faced. And it still did well. If Captain Marvel fails, she doesn't have the competition. So that just even makes it look worse. I'm just saying.
He's just, yeah, so
I'm not going to read all this because he just goes blah, blah,
again, they talked about at the very end, he doesn't know what the numbers are going to be until we get the final stretch. But when you start, and he might actually have, Mark might actually have a very good analysis of the situation. But when you start it with an army of easily triggered fanboys, okay, most people are just going to shut you down.
Yeah, they're not even going to listen to what you have to say.
They're not even going to listen to what you have to say.
And then women aren't going to listen to you say either, because especially if they're, you're just marginalize them with the fanboys. I'm so tired of it. You need to take this fanboys term and shove it, because I'm so sick of it. And I'm sorry, Mark, for all your comments about trolling, you are doing the exact same thing. Exact same thing. Exactly the same thing.
Yeah, because Mark wants people like us to make videos about him so people read his article so he gets paid more.
Don't read his article. Just listen to our video.
Yeah, don't read his article.
It's just a lot of him talking in circles and talking about himself anyway.
Pretty much. I predicted this and I predicted that. So we'll see how Captain...
Like Superman versus Batman or Batman versus Superman, whatever.
I have great
So
get credit,
yeah,
everybody.
so that tells you all you need to know about Mark right there. Anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, again, looking at from the PR point of view, I'm just seeing so many similarities between this and Solo. I do think it might do a little bit better than Solo, but it's there are a lot of similarities.
And I'm just pointing out this kind of article has only been really starting the last couple of years, around the same time the big divide started. And I think these people like this guy are causing more of the problems than anything else.
Well, I mean, that's kind of a duh. Mainstream media is causing division in the country. Duh, but it's filtered down to, it seems more prevalent, I think, in pop culture circles now, because pop culture is so influential. Entertainment is so influential that we have people actively trying to control and or destroy pop culture, and we're seeing it on all sides now. We're seeing it in movies and games and comic books and now anime.
Because my takeaway is, oh my gosh, Captain Marvel and Alita at the same time. This is amazing. 2 strong women characters at the same time. You can't have that.
Nope.
I mean, there's clearly an agenda there just to drive Alita down to raise Captain Marvel up, and I still stand by this. If you have to make something less than to make yourself more than, you are not a strong male or female character. You are not a strong person. You're a dick. Sorry. Whether you're a girl or a boy, that applies to you both. You're both dicks. But anyway, I'm just saying.
Congratulations, you beat it on easy mode with cheat codes.
Pretty much.
I mean.
Pretty much.
So we're gonna wrap this one up.
Yeah.
Okay. That is Geeky's rant for today. So I think she needs a Tylenol now.
I do need a Tylenol.
Okay.
I already did this on Twitter earlier.
Oh my God. Okay, so we're gonna wrap this one up. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe to Clownfish TV for more pop culture news, views, rants, gaming videos, art videos, and more. We are gonna do more of those. There's just so much to talk about with this.
I want to talk about some fun things for lunch.
And we'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks for watching Clownfish TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.